Okay, so I've decided to do all this all over again. First one, just there's too many cuts. So this is Tactical Tuesday. This is something new that I'm trying. I'm trying to not put too much tech into it. That way I can just do this. I have a tendency to over engineer what I'm trying to do, and then I never end up doing it. I think some people like maybe Aiden might understand where I'm coming from with there. So I'm just gonna do with what I got and just throw it out there. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get it completed. So I decided to start this because I kind of took a poll on Facebook about what I carry in my backpack, and I mean most of you that know me know there's quite a bit in there. So I figured it's probably worth talking about. There's a reason why I carry what I carry, not because I'm worried that I can't do without it, but I don't know, just might have a need for it. So, I mean, not everything out in there is something that everybody needs to carry, but there are things in there that people might find useful. So, I'm just going to cover those things as the weeks go on, as long as it seems to be valuable to anybody. So, the reason I'm doing all this is I'd like for people to be more aware. Have a game plan. That's kind of my where I wanted to go with everything first. Is that if you haven't already talked with friends and family about these things, it's worth talking about. That if there is an emergency, there's no cell phone coverage or anything like that. Vehicles don't work. I mean, you just never know. What's the plan? You're just gonna think you're gonna catch an Uber. Well, I mean, you can't do that without a phone, right? And they can't do it without a car. So, do you know where you're going to meet with everybody at? These are things that you should just have a quick conversation about. And we've come to, in through the years, I've had conversations with people about where would you meet. Most people haven't thought about it, and they think, well, we'll meet at your house, which is fine as long as I'm planning for it, so I can make sure I have what I need for that. But without knowing that, my wife and I have talked about it because if she's across the county at her work and I'm across at my work, we're quite a ways apart. So where do we meet? Do we meet at the house? Is the house even a safe place to meet? And it could take days to get there, so that's something to keep in mind. Do you try to get there as fast as you can, or do you take the safest route as you can? And when do you start to be concerned? I mean, naturally, in an emergency situation, you're going to be concerned, but just minimizing those to know that there is a game plan. It's just worth a few minutes of talking about and maybe thinking about what you do need to have on hand that's in place that you can, take care of yourself and your loved ones in those situations. So we'll get more into that as these subjects go on, and if people have questions about it. But for now, the one I'm going to cover is Paracord because that's one of the easiest ones. It's easy to carry. If you throw it in your vehicle, you don't need to have a gigantic thing of it like this. This is 100 feet, maybe. There's all kinds of flavors of it, every single color you can possibly think of. There's even custom stuff. There's your standard paracord, looks like this stuff. It's just simple stuff. This is 550. 550, I think, is its ultimate weight rating. I haven't found 550 pounds to put on it to know if that's what it holds, but it's just a general idea. And you can do a lot with this stuff. It's good to just have on hand, but you can also cut it apart because there are strands inside. If anybody's ever played with paracord, you know that if you don't melt the ends, the strands come out. So there's quite a few here. I think different companies make different numbers of strands, anywhere from 7 to like 13 or something like that. So you can use the individual strands for stuff, or you melt the ends and use it all in one. You can make cool knots. These make great tie-offs for like zipper pulls and stuff. If you lose something on your backpack, just learn some knots. I can put some links, but there's plenty of things on YouTube that you can look up to find that. There's bigger types of paracord. This is for climbing. I actually used to carry this on my backpack, but I realized in like a year that I'd never taken it off my backpack, and we're in North Carolina. There's like the highest elevation is like 3 feet, so it's not like I'm gonna need to climb any mountains. There's also a I think it's a 330. It's a much thinner. It's I think 3 millimeter. This I think is like 6 millimeter. Um, but the 3 millimeter, I mean, you can make smaller jewelry and stuff. You typically see these made with bracelets. So I got an example here. This is just something I threw together real quick. So you can use these clasps. This stuff is all over Amazon, so you can get this stuff anywhere. And then there's two typical, this is a typical knot for a bracelet. You got the two strands in the middle, and you just continue to make these special knots on the outside. And it gets pretty complex. You can get really wide ones and all kinds of cool designs. Some of them are pretty complex. And you can do this free-handed, or they do have jigs that you can get. Runs about $15, and it has numbers on it. I don't know. My video is showing in reverse, so I don't know how this will actually come out. But it's not a reverse ruler. That's just the way it looks to me, anyways. So you measure the person's wrist or whatever length you want your piece of jewelry or bracelet or whatever to be, and then you set these two ends that far apart. You put your clasps. You see you got your clasps, and you put those on the ends. So that way you can string it between, and you just, tie it all together. There's cool stuff like a monkey fist. This is, I don't know, some people have never heard of a monkey fist. I guess it looks like a little bitty monkey fist with 4 fingers. This has a steel ball in. This, in some states, I don't know about North Carolina, but it's illegal to carry this because you can hit somebody with it. Because I guess you can't hit nobody with a hammer that you can legally carry, or a stick, but God forbid you carry a ball with a metal thing in it that you can defend yourself. But yeah, they make like lanyards out of these. These were typically created for people on boats, I guess fishermen or whatever, and they would tie these to the tie-offs where they tie up the boat on the dock. And this serves as a weight on the end, and they would throw that to the people on the dock, so that way the rope, because if you ever tried to throw a piece of rope, it doesn't really go nowhere. It just it's like a noodle. So if you got this, that weight helps carry it over. So, and then there's some specialty stuff. This stuff's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know when I would ever use it, but if I needed it, I'd be glad to have it. So this stuff has special strands in it, and there's 2 different varieties I have here. This one has, it's typical white strands that you see in there. But this also has some copper, this is brass. It's some brass, like 30 gauge wire, and you can use that as a snare if you needed to like trap something. It also has monofilament fishing line. I can't get it to focus. Now I see why they do that. Anyways, it's monofilament, that's single strand fishing line in there. And then there's a piece of waxed jute. So jute is like, kind of like hemp rope, but it's jute rope. So it's made of jute, not hemp, I guess. And it's got wax on it. So even if this gets wet and you're in a survival place and you need to start a fire, you can cut this and then pull all the strands out. And you take that one piece of waxed jute, and using a ferro rod or something. We'll cover ferro rods. That's something that's in my backpack, if you don't know what it is. The waxed jute will start even if it's wet. So it'll start burning really easy. And then I got one more here that has similar stuff. But instead of the wire, it's got a piece of Kevlar cord. So Kevlar is heat and abrasion resistant. So you could actually take a piece of it and run it back and forth and like cut, say, a zip tie or something, like a piece of plastic from the friction. It's pretty strong for what it is. There is a piece of wax jute in there. And this one has the green one that you see is, I forgot what it's called, but it's fishing line, but it's multi-strand. Like a multi-pass. The multi-strand, it's a lot stronger for, I guess, bigger fish. So, yeah, it's got some cool stuff and cool uses. I think this has a little higher rating than your 550 because it has the stronger cords in it. So, but yeah, those are the things. So, you don't need to carry a giant thing. Whether you have 3 feet, heck, carry a piece like this. Throw it in your glove box or something. You might end up needing it. You got to get in a fender bender and your hood flies up or whatever, you tie your hood down, or you lose a shoestring. They make great shoelaces. It's just good to have. You can wrap knife handles with it, or wrap it around a stick if you need to make a rudimentary weapon. You should have more than that on you, but in case you don't. So yeah, that's all the different kind of paracord stuff. And then, there's specialty tools. This is for when when you're making something like this and you need to, sometimes you need to force this in to the seam. I'm trying to get it on camera there. You force it into the seam, so in case you need to feed this back through, it kind of opens it up. So, yeah, I think I got this kit, and it has a bunch of those needles. I didn't show you the needles. That was on the last video that I messed up. So these needles are threaded. It's got a hollow threaded end here. And you melt the ends of these. That's another cool thing about these. You heat it up with a lighter, and instead of it fraying, it's like this. See, it's like melted. You just kind of twist the ends together. And it kind of makes its own natural needle if you need that to thread through. But when you have like this, it actually makes it better for when you're making stuff. So there's all kinds of cool little clips you can get on Amazon. You can make a rifle sling or something with that, or a key lanyard or whatever. So get some paracord, because you're going to need some. So you can tie your trunk down or beat somebody with it. So, all right, I'll cover something else next. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll figure it out. Sounds good. See you.